Mensa-chan here. Do any of you remember my old video about weird fanfic terms? Yeah, you probably don't, it's okay. Well, I had so much fun making that old video that I decided to make an iceberg with some of those terms and make a deep dive to explain them. I hope you have as much fun watching this video as I had fun making it. And if you do, don't forget to like and subscribe, okay? Now, let's get started. I've already explained in my older video what the term lemon was, but for those who don't want to rewatch it, here's a quick recap. The term lemon was originally from the anime fanfiction community to talk about stories with explicit content. You see, back then, mature teen fanfic were hard to discuss about because most websites would block the use of sensitive words, so people came up with the lemon term. Most people trace it back to the classic hentai anime series, Cream Lemon. An early mailing list for publishing adult anime fanfics called itself the Lemon List in its honor. Mensa from the future here. So, I actually ended up finding the Lemon List as an archive, and I also found out who made the list, so I will be updating you guys with a new video on that soon. Now, lemon is a very common term, but at some point, there was an entire citrus scale with various fruit code names, depending on how hardcore and adult the content was. Nowadays, the lemon term isn't really much used for its intended purpose, because fanfiction sites now have a rating scale that's more obvious to use than the citrus scale. In early 2019 though, due to the Tumblr apocalypse, remember when they blocked all the not safe for work tags? Some Tumblr users brought back the hashtag lemon and other citrus terms to tag their NSFW content instead. Hats up for keeping tradition going. The term crackfic is a disputed term among the fanfic community, but at its base, it's the term for a story that takes a ridiculous premise to the extreme. The term crackfic is a disputed term among the fanfic community, but at its base, it's the term for a story that has at its base a very ridiculous premise. It's usually used for stories in which completely unbelievable and wacky things occur, generally written with no excuse beyond wanting to have fun. Some claim that initially that term was meant to be derogatory. Initially, crackfic was short for, "Oh god, that's awful, the writer must be on crack or something." Others believe that crack simply refers to the inherent silliness of the topic. Personally, I think it's a bit of both. When I see the crack tag, it's usually a kind of warning that tells me, yes, the story is gonna be silly. No, it will not make any sense, but it will be fun to read. Contrary to trollfics though, a crackfic can absolutely be serious and well written, even though it's a crackfic. It can be a very well made and legit story just with a unbelievable premise. Catherine Scarrett is believed to be the creator of the crackfic term. Interestingly though, it wasn't meant in the same way it is used today. For her, the term was to describe fanfics made for the readers who just want story after stories, they don't interact with the authors, they just want another fix, you know? Okay, pretty much everyone knows the term Mary Sue. We've all seen it. It's that one character that is plain, yet people think she is oh so beautiful. She will have lived a dramatic life, she'll have incredible powers, incredible abilities, she'll usually have a pleurum thicker than my booba, you get the gist. They are everywhere in fanfiction stories, often of self-insert. Some will find them annoying, some will find them funny, some will even find them endearing. No matter how you feel about them, Mary Sues and Mary Stews are here to stay. Now, the origin of the term is actually pretty interesting. See, back in the days, some fanfics were spread amongst fanzines, literally printed magazines of fan works. Gosh, that makes me feel old. One of them was called Menagerie, and it focused on Star Trek original stories. A lot of these stories were, well, as good as the vast majority of fanfics out there. A good majority of them revolve around those beautiful teenage girls being beamed aboard, having unique powers, and then the whole crew falls in love with them. Rings a bell, don't it? Anyways, this one hero called Paula Smith saw this trend and nicknamed it Lieutenant Mary Sue Stories. So yeah, the term Mary Sue was basically created to shitpost about a writing trend. I love the fanfic community. Because the fanfiction world just loves their abbreviations, you probably saw these terms peppered in fic descriptions. To make things simple, het is short for heterosexual. It's used to mean that the story has a classic male-female pairing. Slash stories come from the fact that a lot of stories will use a slash between characters to describe a pairing. So if you see Pixie / apple juice, you'll know it's a love story between the two. Slash is mostly used to talk about homosexual pairings. A deviation of the term femme slash is used for, well, female-female pairings. The term yenta is a Yiddish pejorative term to describe someone that's nosy, gossipy, and tries to set people up in a relationship. In fanfiction, it describes that one character that meddles in the character's relationship. They always seem to be on top of every gossip thing, they often try to set people up, and they either succeed like an invisible god hand, or they fail miserably, and every bad thing happening becomes their fault. In many love fanfics, they'll be the one giving that little push to make a couple happen, often using the classic catchphrase, "Does he know you love him?" The phrase, "No better, we die like men," is a twist on a 2016 Tumblr meme of a bumper sticker reading, "No airbags, we die like men." A post reading, "No proofreading, we die like men," quickly gained popularity the same year. That sentence made its way in fanfic communities as "No better, we die like men," as a funny variation of the disclaimer "No better read." It is usually found in the tags, the summary, or the author's notes of the fanfic to announce that the story was not checked over by a beta before being posted. The phrase signals that the fic has not been proofread or edited by a third party, meaning that readers might find mistakes in the text. It also implies in a funny way that the writer is aware they should maybe have used a beta, but instead they choose to face the consequences of their actions. If you've watched any of my fanfic reading streams, especially my immortal readings, you've probably seen "Stop flamming" or something similar in the author's note. A flame is a mean and inflammatory comment about an author or their work. They are not to be confused with constructive criticism. Flames are just made to be mean and they're seen as bad etiquette. You often see them referenced in troll fics. WAFF, or WAFF, stands for warm and fuzzy feelings, or warm and fluffy feelings. This acronym is to reference those feel-good fakes that make your heart swell a couple sizes. Their sole purpose is to make the reader go, "Ow, that's so sweet," at regular intervals and or at the end. The WAF term is also frequently interchangeable with fluff. The Sugar Wiki hilariously compared WAF as a Hallmark presentation. Now, I don't know what it is with some fanfic writers, but it seems that to some of them, simple sentences just aren't enough. Like they need to make every paragraph straight out of a thesaurus. Like every piece of the fic is being filled with way too many synonyms and unnecessarily overcomplicated words. The purple prose writing style is named after a quote by Roman poet Horace, who compared writing such proses to sewing purple patches to clothing. Though back then the purple pigment was extremely rare, so using it to sew patches was a common form of displaying pretentiousness in wealth. And that's where cerulean orbs come in, because it is one of the most common example of a purple prose. The term cerulean orbs is used in many fanfics and it just means blue eyes. Literally, just that. Because saying blue eyes isn't fancy enough, I guess? Also, please stop using the term orbs to describe eyes. It's just eerie and it's gross. Just stop. People started using cerulean orbs to make their fics look fancy so much that people started noticing it, and they started using it to describe the purple prose. So now, both terms are interchangeable. The term "dead dove do not eat" comes from a scene in Arrested Development, where there's this character that finds a package in a fridge labeled "Dead Dove Do Not Eat." Being curious, he opens the package anyway and discovers it contains exactly what the label says: a dead dove. The character then says to himself, "I don't know what I expected." The "I don't know what I expected" part became a meme in and of itself, and it's used in situations where people choose to look at things that are probably going to be unpleasant, and they find out that they are indeed unpleasant. Holy shit, the rain is intense, what the poop? The use of "dead dove do not eat" as a tag for fanfiction was suggested by user Mostly Valid as a way to tell readers that, seriously, this fic will contain something unpleasant and you have been warned. If you choose to ignore the warning and open the fic, and then you get upset by the unpleasant content, well, we don't know what you expected. So this one is one of the tropes that I just find fascinating. It's this fictional disease where a character will start coughing up flower petals because of one-sided love. Hanahaki disease is portrayed as this painful and slow disease that often develops over months, if not years. It begins by coughing up a few petals, and then it grows in intensity and pain until the victim is coughing up entire flowers, at which point the disease has reached its final stages. If not treated, that disease is fatal. It ends when the beloved person returns their love, or when the victim dies. It can be cured through surgical removal, but when the infection is removed, the victim's romantic feelings will also disappear. Sometimes it will be the romantic feelings overall, sometimes it will be the romantic feelings for that particular person. The hanahaki trope was popularized with the shoujo manga Hanahaki Otome, or The Girl Who Spit Flowers, by Naoko Matsuda in 2009. It is also to note that the hanahaki disease trope is not a fanfic-only trope. It can be found in other kinds of works and medias, but it is very popular in the fanfic world though. That trope is very popular because, it has that melodramatic angst potential, while also being so aesthetic and pretty. Personally, I am fascinated by this trope because not only is it visually striking, but I love the fact that pretty much everyone in the fanfic world has agreed to share those pretty specific rules about that fictional disease, like down to the side effects of the surgery. The hanahaki disease trope does carry some concerning implications though. The other person is basically forced to return the unrequited love or basically let the person die. Alternative versions of the disease have been proposed to avoid those implications. One of them is by making the disease an inconvenience rather than life-threatening. The other is by transforming the trigger of the disease, so the victim has the hanahaki disease by not confessing their feelings, without regard to whether the other person returns the feelings or not. Essentially, wump involves taking a character and placing them in a physically painful or psychologically damaging scenario. A bit like when you guys are there for my Thursday fanfiction readings. Often, the character will be a fan favorite and may sometimes be referred to as a woobie. Wumping, the verb or action for wump? Anyway, it was meant to describe the situation where that character who was in jeopardy gets comforted by other characters. So basically, it was another term for a hurt/comfort fix. However, there are wump fics that focus entirely on the hurt and with zero comfort. So wump will generally be seen as darker than the hurt comfort genre. Woobies are described in the fandoms as those very cute characters that have that aura of wanting to just moosh them in a blanket and protect them forever. Kinda like I wanna do to you guys. Wump as a term is believed to have originated from the Stargate SG-1 fandom. It's hard to pinpoint exactly who coined the term and when it started exactly being used. The fanfiction.net user OXBastetXO claims to have coined the term Danny Wumping. This is not 100% confirmed, but it does fit with a comment in the early 2000s from Tumblr user Nissa's Live. I definitely remember a specific Daniel Wump mailing list around the time that Stargate S5 aired. Not sure when it started, but it was a thing in Stargate fandom. As reference, Stargate Season 5 aired between 2001 and 2002. The term wump then migrated from its origin in Stargate to become a term in so many fanfictions. A Draco in leather pants is when a fandom takes a controversial or downright villainous character and then will try to downplay their flaws, often turning them into an object of desire, and slash or a victim in the process. Common reasons for a Draco in leather pants include the fans seeing the villain character as wicked in this classy and cool way. Or they will see the character as too much of this deliberate contrast to the hero, which they find too on the nose or weak. There's also this big I can change him attitude that a lot of writers have. The term Draco in leather pants is coined in reference to a scene in which Draco wears tight leather pants and looks good in them in the Draco Trilogy fanfiction series by Cassandra Clare. I was extremely disappointed when I learned this wasn't about squeaky cheese. Squak is a contraction of the words squeamish and ick. It's a term commonly used in discussion in fanworks media to talk about that deep-seated visceral turn-off for the fan or writer. Squak can also be used as a tag to warn readers that the story will contain some disturbing or stomach-churning content. Basically, a squeak is a dead dove do not eat taken to the extreme. MSTing is, well, it's pretty much what I do every Thursdays. Shameless plug, I read badfics at twitch.tv/mensorchan. Basically, it's the act of reading bad fanfictions and adding some funny commentary to it. Think of it as a fanfic live roasting. The term MST is derived from the show Mystery Science Theater 3000, often called MST3K, which did this so bad it's good B-movies review. The term was then coined and popularized by fanfiction writers who applied it to other fanfic works. Some people find MSTing to be mean-spirited and unfunny, to the point of actually being banned on platforms such as fanfiction.net. Some others think that they are in good fun, and they see MSTing as an expression of love for the bad fics that they find so bad it's good. Personally, I side with the latter. The term refers to an extreme kind of wump story, in which a certain character is generally so badly hurt and abused that they become helpless and unable to defend themselves. The name that appears after the exclamation point indicates which character is the hurtee. For example, if I was to tag limp exclamation point relensis, well, we know relensis in for a bad time. Limp is a term commonly found in supernatural fanfics. Usually, but not always, other characters will be present to care for the limped character. So yeah, this is a Minecraft reference. The crafting table is a term used by the Dream SMP fanbase. In the Minecraft game, both creators of the Dream SMP realized that by standing on a crafting table block, the way the height of the block changes a character's height allows you to easily simulate, giving head... YouTube, please don't cancel me. Nowadays, standing on a crafting table or standing on a furnace is used as a funny euphemism or innuendo by fans in the Minecraft YouTuber fandom and general Minecraft fandoms to talk about, oral stuff or just the plain old intercourse. The story for Tunog starts in 2013 during the pause between season 2 and 3 of the BBC Sherlock Holmes show. A Tumblr user called Villain in Training, inspired by a joke during his stream, drew a piece of fan art featuring Sherlock and John as tuna and pufferfish respectively. The drawing was also accompanied by a crack backstory. That silly drawing and story inspired others, and Tunog was born. Tunog was mostly received in a positive way and started a substantial number of fan works. However, some initial responses by fans to that trend were that of confusion or even negativity. In light of that negativity, the people supporting Tunog basically just shitposted and kept going. Of course, having started on Tumblr, there were those who read way too deep into the trend, seeing it as so much more. Some fans have claimed that Tunog was a satirical response against the pushback towards the fandom in general and the idea of silly alternative universes. Some even claimed it was a way to make fun of AU works. The Tunog trend kinda died with time, but some hardcore fans will still celebrate the Tunog birthday on March 6th of every year with new fanfics and art. Last but not least, the broccoli test. It's a shorthand term for some characters' almost psychic understanding of each other. The term came out of a real-life situation at around 1994. Sandy Harold and her friend were in a grocery store together, but at opposite ends of the produce section. These two friends were heavily into the professionals at the time. Sandy tried to communicate to her friend that she should pick up some broccoli, but didn't want to shout across the store to her. According to her, no amount of miming or mouthing the words could get the point across. So Sandy told her friend later, Doyle would have known Bodhi wanted him to pick up some broccoli with just the raise of his eyebrow. She shared this funny anecdote online, and people then started using the term broccoli test as a way to talk about fandom pairings, those who seem to never have to explain what they want beyond the eyebrow raise or a twitch of the head. Well, there you have it, my loves. That was my deep dive of the fanfiction terms Iceberg. I had so much fun making this. If you're still watching, I just want to say how deeply grateful I am that you spent some time of your day with me. It really means a lot to me. Thank you, thank you. If you want to keep up with me, I have a little Discord server, link in the description, where I talk about my upcoming projects. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and yeah, I hope to see you on my next video. Goodbye, my lovelies!